into the cloud. Wow, he's back just for Rabbi John Green in case he watches it. Just see peeled back almost 5 head. It is a yarmulke. It's on. It's always on. It's just when
that was 2 episodes ago. You're good. That was 2 episodes ago. Well, we are back after a long hiatus. Episode 5 of the Harold Katz podcast. The Godfather was recently in the tri-state area, but now he's back in the Charm City. He and his boys got to take on some top teams, so we're gonna get his thoughts on that. Coach,
I was so impressed with the game plan and what you guys were doing. Why don't you? So for those people who don't know, Coach Katz coaches the small McCoy Chaim out in Baltimore, and who's facing the powerhouse Frisch and they have all the players, they have all the funding and the teams and you were up 31-18 and with 7 minutes in the third. We'll talk about that second part, but getting there, what was the game plan going into that game against Frisch? What were you telling your guys? Oh, you're muted, Coach Katz. You're muted.
It was 31-18 at the half. It was 39-20 with like 5 minutes to go in the quarter.
Right.
It's a little bit imposing sometimes. There's, I don't know, 400 boys or 500 boys in that school. Who knows?
Their size compared to your size, it's unimaginable.
Oh yeah. Oh, and they have Alex Eckheim, who's one of the 3 best Yeshiva League guys, and they have big muscle meatheads on.
A third of our school was at the tournament. Like that's a fact. So
what was the game?
Well, I think it's just like any other. We're going to play our defense. It's not confusing. We play man to man. We do some different things in it that most teams don't see a lot of. I think it's not news that there's not a lot of man to man Yeshiva League. So we kind of thought that
a lot of 2-3 zone.
Yeah, a lot of 2-3 zone. I thought that would bother them a little bit. The way we do it, it kind of worked out that way a little bit, and then it was just run our stuff. And if anybody who watched the game, I think it was a little disappointing to me because I haven't watched the second half yet, only because I'm afraid of scary things. But
make sure you're in a room that you can't break anything. Like pillows.
I was staying.
All doors were sealed.
I was staying at the Lifers, and when I got home, they said, "You need anything?" And I said, "Well, I could use some either arsenic or something with a jagged edge." But we ran our offense. You know what I mean? Like that's what we do. And so I think with like 5 minutes to go in the second quarter, it's 25-11. And I'm thinking like, we're spanking these guys pretty good now.
No shot clock, right?
No shot clock, but that we don't take that long on possession,
no.
Obviously, and we're going to talk about that later on in the show.
Right, but obviously not. But with the idea of the no shot clock is 25-11. It's not really a 14-point game in the conventional sense. It's really like closer to 20-24 point game because teams.
Yeah, you would think if your team was if we were disciplined enough to do that. But my point being that you're on a 80-point pace basically at that point. And what bothered me when I was watching the film back is, wow, we got 25 points with 5.5 minutes to go in the half, and we end up with 31. The good news is that we only gave up 2 more. Do you know what I mean by that? So they don't cut the deficit to 1. They had switched defensively at that point to a extended 2-3 zone. But we got whatever shots we wanted through our movement. I mean, I thought we were good on both sides of the ball that night, and at least first 20 minutes. Like when we could defend you in the half court, then we have a chance, and that's what I think our guys worked hard. What we lack in talent, we give back in effort. So we were working hard, and you go in at halftime, win the half, you win the game. There's nothing really special about that. I mean, that's we didn't expect what would happen, but that was the thought process, the game plan, kind of exactly as we laid it out. I was a little surprised that they came out and played man to man. I mean, I guess I was told that they do that a little bit, but they really play more zone. I think it was one of those things, like, they're small, look at them. They're little.
Yeah.
We get that a lot.
Right.
Look, they're little,
Yeah, they're certainly not North Shore.
Yeah. So everybody just comes out and says, oh, we'll play man to man, and just kind of intimidate them through it and stuff. We did not get easily intimidated. Part of I guess that's part of playing for me. I mean, if you can handle me, you can probably handle some high school kids.
Yeah, Shmuel Braverman over at Frisch. You can handle him if you can handle Coach Katz. That's for sure.
I'm just saying, like, if you, part of what I try to do is make sure that no one's going to be any more intimidating than me. You understand what I mean? Like, it's sort of, you're trying to set them up for success.
We should pay the Yeshiva League pass to have Harold sound bites. We got to have them wired, like mic'd up. Like
we talked about that, but the Sarachek tournament. It's a bridge you probably don't want to cross.
I'm calling Max Live right now.
My son Ellie was not in favor of the.
Yeah.
He was kind of like, Oren brought it up, and Ellie's kind of like, this is not going to be a good idea. So, however,
it will extend viewership, though, Coach.
I have worn. I am disciplined with it. I have worn mics before. Like I used to have to wear.
Right, at Goucher?
No, at Talmudical, we used to have media there all the time. And
wow, that's so fun. Oh, probably to see Tamir.
Yeah, and they would always mic me up. And then when the Associated Press was doing a documentary on YU, they'd mic me up a couple of times. And sometimes I would say some things. I'd be like, "Can you hear me? Don't."
Can we cut that out?
Cut that out. They were good about that. That's funny.
But I don't mind being mic'd up in case I want to do it, but it's not something. I'm more interested in seeing if we can get stops, make some layups and.
I think you guys, maybe I'm watching. I thought it was the turnovers that was the undoing.
Oh yeah.
When you was just, they brought it up. Your half court defense looked great. I mean, Zach hit some really tough shots. That would be tough for anyone.
The shot off the glass was that's a tough angle. It's a tough shot.
Yeah, I remember that one.
The whole comeback was just off the trap.
He's a college basketball player, but I think really where we got hurt. I mean, you're plus 19. That's never happened to me before. I told that to my guys after the game. I'm in new territory here. I've never had that. Where we're just taking somebody to woodshed and then they turn around and beat us. That's just never happened. So, but what happened was a live ball turnover. I told our guys, just throw it out of bounds. Like, we could guard it. If you feel like you're going to turn it over, just throw that thing out of bounds. We can guard in the half court. That was not our problem. We gave up. Alex must have had 9 in a row at some point. I think 7 of them were off live ball turnovers. So we don't even have a chance to defend it. I mean, I think the same thing happened with Mag and David on Friday. Like, we could guard you in the half. We couldn't guard in the half court. I think we got a little bit on Sunday afternoon. I think we were a little tired and we got a lot of foul trouble. So we started giving up middle penetration, which we don't usually do. And that hurt us a little bit. And then, Berman had another kid who's a college basketball player, Usher Falk. So he's a good player, and we played against him earlier in the year and beat him. And so, like, we didn't feel like we wanted to go 200 miles and play him again, But we also didn't want to play him Sunday, but we want to play him Sunday at 6:00 instead. We played him at 4:30. Either way,
Yeah, I mean, listen, Coach. Like I said, I think I texted you even after. A great job. Obviously things could have been better, but you got to take the positives. You played Frisch, you play Magan David, the eventual champion. Do you think maybe one of the bigger takeaways for your guys was, between now and leading up to Sarachek is withstanding the press? You think that's a lesson?
You know what?
It was the half court.
Yeah. I thought even with Magan David, I think we have more problems with Magan David because, one of our kids got a bloody nose we were tied up at 15. And then on a putback by Malam, and the kid had taken the charge before that they didn't call. So we got a bloody nose, but we're down 2, when he gets his nosebleed. And by the time he comes back, and he's major for us. And by the time he comes backward, it's double digits. We got what we wanted against the press. Now our game plan worked. We just didn't finish.
Right.
Somebody asked me what my takeaways, like how do you fix it before now in March? And I go like, I don't know, make layups and free throws and take care of the basketball. I mean, look, it's what I've told you guys all the time. Basketball boils down to 4 things: passing, catching, layups, free throws. I mean, if you watch the game, Jack, it's passing, catching, layups, and free throws.
Right.
Magan David is passing, catching, layups, free throws. The press really didn't bother us as much as I thought it might, because we were able to get what we wanted, but we get down the other end. I think we had 3 shots blocked in our first 4 attempts. The other, we missed a layup, had another one, and then another guy missed a layup. So, take those 5 possessions, and let's say you're making, I don't know, 3 out of the 10, 3 out of the, 6 out of those 10 points. Assuming none of them are and ones, you're right where you need to be, and you're winning the game. You know what I mean? So, I think
missed opportunities.
What's that?
Missed opportunities, really.
Oh yeah. Look, I'm not want to take anything away from Frisch. I mean, that they were borderline finished. They got up off the mat and just beat the crap out of us. You know what I mean? So I'm not taking anything away from them.
No, of course not.
They did a hell of a job. I just think we handed them the basketball.
Sure.
And they
at the same time.
And they converted on that, and that's their job to do it. We kind of Santa Claus them, and they were like little kids, and they took their presents and they went to the bucket with them. But here's the thing, in that gym, you probably lose 3 feet on each side.
Tiny gym.
Yeah, so you end up. So you
that gym in particular.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's 3 gyms. The one in the middle school is legit. Then you have that really, really small closet you play in the middle school. And then the old high school gym, the blue one is it's not as wide.
It looked small when I was watching.
Well, and it feels like
that's where they play their hockey games, I think.
Yeah, and it feels small because the boards are around it. It's just it's not as wide.
It felt like trapping everything. It felt like there was no space, even though your guys were all spaced.
Yeah.
I had never seen it where you had all 5 of your guys, they were spaced out properly, and it still felt tight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but because that's the nature of that court, and so, because you're losing that, I would say 5 to 6 feet, 3 on each side. So whereas we would have normally more room to throw this pass, we don't have it. And then they were really aggressive. They had no choice but to be. And our kids kind of wilted under that. So I think the answer to that question is we missed too many gimmies at the rim. It's been our problem all year. And we're not making free throws right now, which we were early in the season. Sometimes that can become, what's that word I'm looking for? Contagious, where it just, so like we played tonight and we talked about working on those things, don't throw the ball away. Well, actually take care of the basketball is what we say. Take care of the basketball. Let's make some free throws and layups, and let's see if we, people don't understand this, but when you're teaching passing, the first half of the pass belongs to the passer. The second half belongs to the receiver. And it's the passer's job to make sure that the receiver has an opportunity to catch it. You can't just throw it to a kid. You have to throw it away from your defender, that kind of thing. And I think we didn't do a very good job of that. And then when we got trapped, they did a great job with what they do. And then, like we could stem the tide with a layup and one that we got, and they called it a charge instead. On film, I just can't see the charge, but it's the call, and you just have to deal with it.
Right.
I didn't make a big deal about it. I said I didn't agree with the call, and then move on. Like, what are you gonna do? They're not changing that call, so you just have to deal with it.
Yeah. So Jack and I have this conversation a lot about the Yeshiva League and the reputation of them being the dominant league. But I think it was a great weekend for the state of Maryland, not just with YMC, but with Berman. So I would love to get your thoughts on that as well.
Well, first of all, Yona does a really good job with them. I mean, like we played them early in the year up here. But they spanked us twice last year, and deservedly so, because we were terrible. I mean, we were terrible against them. I don't know if we were terrible. We were just kind of growing up a little bit.
Right.
And you grow up and your big brother beats you around a little bit. So then we had to get over the big brother thing. And until we got control of the game, I want to say it was 15 the first time we played. Donnie Oka didn't play. Donnie Carr didn't play. They didn't have Erez Epstein. So there was a little bit of that, but even with them, we don't have their depth. You know what I mean? Like they still have more depth than we do, although it's young depth.
Right, bigger school too. So.
Yeah, Yona really does a good job with that. And they basically they ball pressure the hell out of everybody they play. We know what they're doing to us, and they know what we're doing to them. So look, I'll just talk about them for a minute. When they played Hillel, I mean, they have a chance to win a game. Have a chance to win a game at the buzzer. Sure, they have a chance to win the game. Don't win the game. They have a chance to beat Hafter. They let Hafter get out by 20 or whatever it was. And they kept making runs at him, and Hafter get a bucket here or there. Like they just played. I thought they played great. They just didn't win, if you know what I mean. Like they just kept coming up short, whether missed free throws or bad defensive rotations or something like that. But they, the two of us play man to man, because when you're down here, you see man to man. That's what you see here. Whereas you go to that league, you don't really see man to man. So we're going to go there.
Yeah,
we may be.
And we see you guys play with the shot clock.
Yeah, well, they don't in their league. Interestingly enough,
the PVAC. The Potomac Valley Athletic Conference doesn't play with a shot clock.
Don't have a shot clock. Or I would say we played 20 games, including the 6 down there. So if you take from the 14, we probably have half of them shot clock. Shot clock doesn't. We're playing at a non-shot clock pace.
My question is,
a shot clock
if the goal is like to. I'll talk about the Yeshiva League and maybe other these leagues, is to raise some of these guys to be great men and great student athletes, number one. Yeah. And then number two, for those players who can play at the next level, is to prepare them for the next level.
Right.
Aren't we doing our kids a disservice by not having the shot clock in the Yeshiva League? When's the last time we had a dominant, other than Leifer, who was a center, right? And centers, it's a little different.
Yeah. I think it's more than
a guy who controls the pace of game, a ball handler, come out of the Yeshiva League and be dominant in college. It hasn't happened. I think it has to do with the shot clock thing. What do we?
I don't think. I'm not sure you're totally correct on that. I mean, it does have something to do with it, but I don't know. I don't think that's it. And I'll tell you why. And it's a precarious position for me, because I love competing against those guys. I still want to do it for the rest of the year. And I don't want to say anything that'll piss anybody off.
That's fair.
Right.
But so this is what you tend to do to me, Jack. So
I just asked.
You always bait him. You always bait him and he doesn't take it.
Look, I'm going to answer this question because I think I can do it without pissing too many people. I'll piss some people off, but that's what it is.
That's what you do best.
Yeah. And then if they lay me out and they beat us, so they beat us. You know what I mean?
Why use not disinviting you from Sarachek?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and I think that's why Yona and Berman. I mean, I'm still going to talk about them for a minute. Like that's why they had the kind of success that they had, and we do what we had, because we come from man to man. Okay, So that's why the kids that are coming from out of state, by that I mean we have the largest metropolis, the tri-state area has the most Jews in it in the world.
Yeah.
Well, I mean Israel, but
I know what you're saying.
New York and then LA.
New York and LA, and that's where the dominant Jews are. That's where the dominant number of Jews are. So when you're out of town like we are, we're in like Baltimore's a big city, but it's very myopic, and that is a very black hat. And we're not that way. So the kids it's a very kind of small window between us and Bethel of kids who are going to play athletically. So I think let's start with the fact that the two of us play man to man, because our leagues are man to man leagues. The games we play are basically man to man. So you guys get up in you like we do it more than others. We get up in you a little bit more than other teams do. But Berman does, Berman has great ball pressure from Asher Falk and Erez Epstein. Those two kids really get after you.
Yeah.
And I think what happens in when we play those teams, like what I found was we can play with you now, but at some point, if you make mistakes, the vast number and size, and like if you make mistakes, if you don't take care of the basketball, you don't make layups and don't make free throws, so we have a 19-point lead, and the only way you can protect that lead is take care of the basketball and extend the lead by making free throws and layups. I mean, you can make a three here and there and everything, but it's going to come down to free throw and layups. Like we play Ramaz the first night, we're drilling them too, and then we start fouling them. At least that's how they saw it, the referees. So
right, not that Ramaz got back into the game. You allowed them to get back.
We allowed them to get back in the game by fouling them, and they were good. They did a nice job in staying with it, and Scott's a good coach, and they made their free throws. If we keep putting them on the line, the clock stopped, and they're cutting the lead. You understand what I mean?
Does the clock stop on all dead balls in the Yeshiva League?
Yeah, on every league. Yeah. Clock stops at dead ball. So you're scoring with the clock stop.
Oh,
I agree with you, and that's the time to pounce with no shot clock.
Right. So we had to kind of tough it out and win. We won the game. And then when we played him the next time, Sunday morning, we were up 18. We weren't fouling them. We made them have to execute. We extended our lead, and then we had a chance to kick it to 20, and we missed the layup.
Right.
And they came down, hit a shot. This is at the last 50 seconds of the third quarter. They come down, hit a shot, then we come down with 12 seconds to go, throw it out of bounds. And then they hit a buzzer beater. Now, instead of it being 20, like it should have been on the layup, it's 14. And they come out, hit a bucket right away, and it's 12. And you have to really, guys, come on, are we? But I was happy that it was right after the Frisch thing, and we had to fight our way through that. That's going to benefit us. We had to fight our way to close it because we're having a tough time closing games out. And I think, we have to fight. I mean, I'm just not just saying me. I say we.
Right.
Like our team has a tough time doing that. But when you're from out of town, not California, it's a limited opportunity to be able to do what we're doing. First of all,
to be able to what?
To be able to play like everybody thinks we're coming in from out of town. We're just happy to be there. Screw that. I'm trying to win the tournament. You know what I mean? They just think we're happy that
as long as we've known you, that's never been your mentality.
Yeah,
you've instilled that in your team.
Yeah, so we're coming to win. I'm going to New York. We're going to New York in March to win.
Right.
We don't have the horses, but we're going to try to do. We're going to play now. We're going to guard you, and defense travels. I don't think we did a very good job on Sunday, regardless. I think we know we should have been playing later in the day, if you know what I mean. We know we were good enough to play in that semifinal, before our game, before the final that we played. We know we
North Shore Mag and David game.
Yeah, we knew we should have been playing that. That's just you can't blow a 19-point lead. You just can't do it. I mean,
right.
You just can't.
Well, I wanted to ask, to circle back to that question. that we don't want to step on toes. We don't want to hurt.
Yeah,
feelings.
yeah. So let me
It's
finish.
glaring,
Jack,
there is
let
a
me
glaring
finish.
thing. I'm just pointing out a
Yeah.
stat. The last time an all-conference player, non-center, ball handler, coming out of Yeshiva League, I think it was Judah Cohen. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know
Let
if
me
Judah
address
Cohen
it. Yeah,
was
let me
an
address it.
all-conference
Yeah,
player.
yeah. Let me address it. Let me address it because this is where I was going with it. It just takes I take a circuitous route.
Oh, it's all good. I love
think
it.
that's a word.
Either that or it's jet lag.
Well, it's kind of both. But here's the thing. My point is that with Yona's team and my team, and I'm sure some other out of town teams, I don't know, not a lot because most play zone. Okay, so they have to do it. They're in a man league, and everybody's going to man them up. We see man to man every night. We didn't see it tonight, but we see it every night. We'll see it tomorrow night. Like we see it every night. The kids in the Yeshiva League, where all these Jews are and all this talent, so to speak, is never see it. They're just so. Not only are they not prepared because the entire league is a zone league,
Right.
but they're not prepared because they don't play outside their bubble. It's not like they turn around and go play Paramus High. You know what I mean? Where you're going to get some brother
Like
with
John Bosco.
Yeah, you're not. They don't get some brother with long arms coming at you. You know what I mean? So you don't have that, and you don't have, like they play. There are some of these. A lot of guys will box you and triangle you and extend your 2-3 to trap it. That they'll junk you quite a bit. So you don't get a lot of junk in college. You get man to man in college, especially now with the 3-point shot.
Right.
And the Yeshiva League is still really like Rafi Alpert at SAR is playing man to man. But if you go to Hillel, you're just going to see a 1-3-1 or junk. That's just what you're going to see. He's good. Hesky's a good coach. He's just going to junk you. That's what they did. Like he does it. Joey's just playing a matchup at after. He's not changing that.
Sure.
So the kids are playing. They're not playing against the man-to-man they need to see. So they don't see the ball pressures, and that's why I think Yona's team and our team are able to play with all this talent, even though we're very short from a bench standpoint and from a number standpoint comparatively speaking, because there's just overwhelming talent here. The last 5 guys on Frisch's bench start for us. I don't know. You understand what I'm saying?
I play with a guy who didn't make the first team that I thought I think is a really good player. He's older now, obviously, but he's like, I didn't make the first team.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. We don't have that. Right. So we have to, but what we do have is the ability to play man the right way and to get after you. And that's why the out-of-town kids, I think, are more well prepared. It's not just a shot clock, Jack, because.
But do you think I just think the reason you sit, maybe I'm naive. I could be
pace
naive.
of play, Jack. It's a little different. You're onto something.
The pace of play slows down, so you need to sit
it's pace to play. Like you could just play a minute and a half offensively like that. That's true. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm saying that all has to do with the same issue, which is ball pressure. You know what I mean? It's the ball pressure, the passing lane pressure, the double teams you'll get in a man that in the post that you'll get in the zone, but it's not the same. Like some people will send a Michigan double team at you in man to man, where they bring you, they bring the opposite post to go double you. Some people will kind of double down off a guard. You know what I mean? Some people will jab at you and not come, right? Some people will front you. Some people 3/4 you. Now you don't really get fronted in the Yeshiva League, right? Because unless you're playing man to man, you're just getting, Gabe never got fronted. He told me this. We've had this discussion. He never got fronted in the Yeshiva League. Played 4 years of high school basketball, was never fronted once. Guys tried to fight with him in their zones, but they never, as a rule, fronted him or tried to. At least he didn't pick up on it. So so that's a little bit part of the problem, isn't it? Gabe came to college, he didn't know how to guard. That was his issue.
Not helping. Oh, I hear
every kid who comes to college doesn't know how to guard in college, but some of them are good enough because they played man in high school, they did it the right way. So
or they have enough weapons in their arsenal offensively.
but that's true. But I'm saying just from a defensive standpoint, the learning curve is not as steep as say it would be for some other guys. So who come from this league.
Right.
So it's not a knock. I mean, I guess it is a knock on the league. It's not a knock on the players. It's not
I
their
think
fault.
But no, it's the approach. It's the approach.
Yeah, it's just the attitude of like, well, this is a zone league and this is what we do here. And
Right.
interestingly enough, that the guys who are consistently winning now are not playing zone. You know, Ike, who does a great job at Mag and David, who I go back with.
They've been great for
Spike.
years now.
30 years. I know Ike.
They've been since Ryan was in high school.
Right,
High school
and
guy,
here's
they
the
were
thing.
winning tournaments.
Yeah, Magan gave Valley Toro a good game, and Ryan's
They won the
semifinal.
Right now, look, they're playing more man now than they did before. Like they played a lot of zone before, so they're playing, as far as I can tell, they're playing more man now. Not totally exclusively, but their press is something that nobody else does. You know, DRS has a press too, but then they go back and play exclusively zone. But when you go to SAR, he's just playing man to man. TABC's playing man to man. I whatever, you know. But like that, those teams that are consistently winning, like Rafi's doing a great job. They're playing man to man, and they're beating people. Now I'm not. You can still be a blue blood in that league, like Fresh, who plays some man that I found out. You know, but their own thing is they play more zone than that. You know. Like North Shore don't play any man. That's a little strange to me with their kind of size and stuff.
Their size, yeah.
I get why they're doing it. I get it. And he's a great young coach. He's got his kids play hard. You know, if you get a coach who's
They were on an upset alert tonight. They almost got their first Yeshiva League loss.
Who?
They held on against Waterbury.
Oh, all right. When you were saying, Coach, when you get a coach that gets kids to play hard.
Yeah, you get a coach that kid. Like that's what's going on with Lior, by the way, besides the fact that he has talent down there in California. The kids play hard.
Play hard.
And then so do Ryan's, by the way. Ryan's kids play real hard. So if you get coaches who get their kids to play hard, some coaches can't do that.
That's important.
Well, look, you had the opportunity to test your might against the New York schools. What's the expectation? Should you test your might against the LA schools in March in New York?
We're not afraid. Like, if that's the question, you think we're afraid? I mean, we're not afraid. And you know, what coaches see and what fans see, you know, fans will see our Mag and David game and say, well, they got killed or whatever. I see it very differently. You know, like I know when Dio goes out, when Donnie Yokin goes out, we're in a tie ball game. You know, even though we got off to an early lead and they kind of subbed back in there, and then they can, but then we're playing 5-6 minutes even. You know, we let them kind of push us around for a couple minutes of that. Not really. I mean, we missed a couple open layups. We're just having a really hard time at the rim. We've been having it for a couple months now. I think that's my fault, you know, but I can't get you a better shot like that. It's a free throw and a layup. You know what I mean? It's kind of like what I told my guys, you know, the night we went over, it's kind of when it really started. We went 0 for 13 from the free throw line one night. That's
crazy.
Yeah.
You're not going to win the game when you're 0 for 13 from the line.
What's that?
You're not going to win the game if you're 0 for 13 from the line.
And
we went over this. We went over this concept before.
Yeah, we missed 10 shots at the rim. What I told them, I may have said this before on the podcast, but what I told my guys in the locker room was, I have a granddaughter in an incubator, and she made as many free throws as we did. You know what I mean? She's in an incubator, fellas. She made as many free throws as we did. Like, we got to be better. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do that. So it is, and that's. We got better tonight. You know, we made a lot of we got shots at the rim and made them. That sort of, you know, you schedule some teams to work on things. Tonight was kind of something to work on. We wanted to work on stuff. Tomorrow we gotta actually play hard. You know, we played hard tonight, but you know, I didn't expect it to be much of a competition. That wasn't why we scheduled it. Scheduled it to get our best some time. But we also scheduled because I knew they were going to play zone, and we got to just do work against the zone that's not against us. You understand? So sometimes you just have to do that if you're trying to prepare for something. So we know we're going to see a lot of zone. I think now we may see a lot more zone than we would have thought. I mean, like, as I told you, last year we went to YU and played one possession of man-to-man and got an and one off EULA. And we never saw it again. Even when they were losing, they never went back to it. And then we never saw it for the next, we played out of crowd. They didn't play man-to-man. We played
Mesivta.
Yeah, they didn't play man-to-man. We played Hill and they didn't play man-to-man. Mesivta might have played a little bit, but it was all zone. Everybody plays zone. So we need to do zone work and we need to take care of passing and catching the ball. I'm telling you, but basketball boils that you could have the greatest three-point shooters in the world. If you can't catch it, pass it, layups or free throws, it doesn't matter what you do. I mean, you got to rebound, but if you can't do this other stuff, your rebound doesn't mean nothing.
I like how that was a veiled credit there towards John Rosen, because he was the best three-point shooter I saw all weekend.
Why he's the best shooter? I kind of think he's the best shooter in America.
How many three-point shots does he take a day, Coach?
Who does he play for?
Plays for me. What do you mean? Who's he play?
Coach's moneymaker.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
I think he had 9 Sunday morning against Ramaz or something.
How many shots does he take in the gym every day?
I mean, he usually does it in dress clothes, to be honest with you. Probably a few hundred.
Oh my God, his stroke is just.
He's a beautiful shooter. He's just a beautiful shooter. But what I think to be really good as a team, you have to make sure that your shooters can get shots. And we work hard to get him shots, and he works hard to get shots. And if you watch us play offensively against man-to-man, he's always screening. Like, he knows the ticket to our offense, which is to screen if you shoot. If you're a shooter, you have got to screen, because the screener is always open. Right. And everybody zeroes in on John. Like my point about his 9 threes against Ramaz the second time we played him was they zeroed in on John. We're just not going to let him beat us. And he had 9. He hit 9, you know what I mean? Like, there's some good shooters in this country. The kid, number 3, I can't say his name. The kid starts with an M or something over at Valley Toro. It's a good shooter. Mayukas.
Mayuhas.
Yeah. Johnny can shoot it a bit. Johnny can shoot it a bit.
Johnny can shoot too, yeah.
There's kid Jacobs in Cleveland who can shoot it a bit. Kid Ben something Farkas, I think, in Florida, shoot it a little bit.
Yeah, Hebrew Academy, Miami.
Yeah, some of these kids can really shoot. I'm not sure. This weekend, there was nobody like John this weekend.
No. And I watched a lot of games this weekend.
Who's your top 5, Coach Katz? If you were to rank all Jewish teams, your personal ranking of teams you've seen tape of, you've seen live, you've played against, you coach against.
I forgot about Avi. I forgot about Avi too. Avi Halpert can shoot the ball.
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, but even with Avi, as much as I love Avi, I think Avi's a better basketball player all around. But I'm just not sure. Look, it's not hard. Whoever it is, Avi or John or Mucus or Johnny or Jacobs, it doesn't take long to get to John's name, is my point. Like, whatever your list is, John Rosen's someplace over there. My personal opinion
in these right in the Jewish teams right now.
5 kids.
Teams
that I saw. I mean, I think Shalhabit and Valley are 2 of them.
SAR.
I mean, I haven't watched a lot of them because
they weren't in Satcherin, but it's clearly their league to lose this year in the Yeshiva League.
I saw him play Hillel. I actually like what North Shore's got going on. I think
next year. Oh my God, they're going to be amazing next year.
Yeah, I think Magan David's pretty good. Who am I missing? Look, I mean, I'm gonna give these guys credit. You know, Frisch has Mag and David beat. Like that game is over, and that kid hits a three. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
The kid hit a three with like 6 seconds to go or something.
Preliminary round. Yeah.
Yeah, they had them beat. Okay, and then they had North Shore beat too, right? Didn't they play them?
Yeah, they came close too. Look, you can never count out a Frisch, especially when they're led by Zach. I know.
Well, plus Alex is so good. I mean, he's very difficult to deal with. You know, and a lot of guys, you know, they lock him up. You know, got like they'll when they man to man him, they'll just stay with him. We didn't do that. We ran our stuff, and Alex had some issues early on. I mean, he made shots, but our thinking was Alex going to get what Alex gets. You know what I mean? Like there's other kids on that team that are pretty good. Kid 11's pretty good. Kid 10's pretty good.
They looked big and strong.
They are big and strong. They're good, man. I like
Strong.
like with the default position as well. If YMC almost beat you, no, I mean, I think you could ask now. I think they had their hands full. They didn't think we were going to be what we were going to be.
Yeah. I'm sure they applauded you even after they gave some
Oh
credit
yeah,
to
they
your
were great. They gave our kids were treated very nicely by them. Like they're kind of like, dude, you're no joke. You know, people think, you know, you're out of town and all that. I thought you're right. I think the teams from Maryland, we did us a solid.
Yeah.
Like there's no question that we can compete with any team playing in this thing. And that, as good as I think Valley Tor is, as good as I think she'll have it, they're both really good. And they may be the best two teams in the country. We're not afraid of them.
Love to see it.
We're not
I have
afraid.
to turn my back on you if you played Valley Toro, Coach Katz. I'm sorry, but I guess
all
you'll
right.
have it. I'm glad.
Jack, let me tell you something. My entire family turns my back on me every day. I'm not too worried about it. You know, we played against Donnie. I had a whole family rooting against me. So
Oh my goodness.
You played against Hank?
Yeah, they played against Hank on Friday.
Oh,
played
no
it
way. They
in
did
the
it on
closet
purpose.
gym, and Donnie just matonned me a little bit with one of my players.
Oh,
Stuck some kid in the middle of the paint, and then he got mad at me when I tried to run. You know,
By the way, Donnie was trying so hard to. I was watching snippets of the game. Donnie was trying so hard to out yell you. He couldn't. He couldn't do it.
he's still got his junior pipes. He's got to wait for the senior pipes to kick
he's
in.
okay. He's okay, but like he did a great job, honestly. Like he's doing a great job there. They got whatever issues they have, but they're playing.
Who won the game, Hank or
we beat him, Jack.
Father always trumps son.
I
Father always
gotta
trumps
watch
son.
more of this.
I mean, I love my kid, but be damned if I'm letting him beat me right now.
Oh, you're gonna let him. Ellie told me a story that he played your team when he was coaching, and he was
at Coahuila, yeah.
he was winning the whole game.
He was
And
not winning the whole
He
game.
was, I don't know. Maybe I'm.
He was playing.
But you
He
beat him
made
by
a run
one.
at us. He made
You
a
beat
run
him.
at us.
You beat him in a tight game, and he said, "That's how I wanted it to end. I didn't want to win." Like he was so nervous about it.
Well, look, let me give you a little insight on Ellie. He was getting all my game film. Like I gave him all my film. Like here's our game from 2 nights ago. I knew I was playing Ellie, and I had no film on Ellie. I like
you gave Ellie all your film.
Yeah, Ellie had all our game film. He'll tell you.
Did he return the favor?
No, of course.
Oh my God.
That was okay. And then Donnie, that son bitch, no offense, Pat, that son bitch, he come back from break. He went to Philadelphia, sat on Ellie's bench, and is just giving me the business. You know, like you said when I gave you life, and you're sitting with this son bitch right there. I'm your dad.
Donnie's been a scholar in residence a lot. He got to sit on the bench for the Tier 2 final.
He sat on my bench, and it was great to have him too, because he is good at what he does. And so, but with Ellie, like he had all my game film. He'll tell you this. He had all my game film. I had never seen this team play, and he gave us a hell of a run. I have the game on film, Jack. I think you can pretty much, tell Ellie. It's not.
When I think about Ellie at Coahuila, that was like 5 jobs ago.
Yeah, right. Not what the film says. He wasn't beating us all day, but we couldn't shake him either, though.
I don't remember the exact story. I remember
He did a great job. He did a great job. He made us work. He knew what we were doing. He took our guys away. Like that's why Ellie has the job that he has in college, because he's good at it.
Yeah.
And so, I was happy to beat him. It was one of the true joys of my life to be able to coach against him. It was painful because I don't want to see him lose.
Right.
We see him every day. But I'm gonna kick his ass if I have a chance to do that. My entire team, my daughter came in with my grandchildren and my son-in-law, and they all rooted for Ellie.
Oh.
No, come on, I give you life, you great ungrateful.
They're going against Grandpa. Oh, I don't know.
How did you do that? How do you
horrible.
do that? I'm saying that's what's up. So, but to circle it back, Jack. I mean, they're legitimate. Okay, who can win the YU tournament? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And I guess as we get closer, you already know Valley can. You already know Shalheva can. I'm telling you, the Frisch can. I don't know if Mag and David's going, but they can. North Shore can.
Right.
SAR can.
Yeah.
DRS
can. Things got to fall right, but
things got to fall right.
think we can. We have a chance. Let me put it that way. While it may be slimmer than everybody else, we have a chance. I mean, team in Cleveland's pretty good. I haven't really gotten to watch them a lot, but I like our chances if we defend. I'd love more if we defend the teams who play as man to man, but
I mean, I think people are going to be amazed, seeing you guys from last year into this year, and they're going to be like,
"You tell me," because I'm too close, so I don't really I'm gonna take your word for this. I don't really. I see when I put on our film from a year ago, we don't look anything like that anymore.
Not at all.
So there were teams we couldn't compete with.
Yeah.
We were just too young and too small. We're not.
You guys,
Coach, I think the perfect example are you didn't get to play them over the weekend, but my guys from Hillel, because in that tier 1, tier 2 consolation game last year, it wasn't a game. I think you could have gone toe to toe with us this year.
What? I think. I mean to say, I think we're better than Hillel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I get fired for saying that, so be it. I'll get a job at YMC.
Whoa. Wait a second. although I love Rabbi Bald, and I would have liked to have seen him this weekend. Look, the Hillel can play now. They can do, one kid is really like the
right. When Braha's in a rhythm, there's no stopping.
He is a handful, and the kid number 11, you got another kid, I think 33 or something. He can shoot it a little.
23, Eddie Casson. Yeah.
Somebody who could shoot, kind of a bigger kid with a headband who can shoot the ball a little bit. Was that down?
Oh, Don Terran. Yeah. He on Berman, he hit like 4 threes in a row, and he doesn't normally shoot beyond the arc.
Yeah, like that. That could have just been a night for him. So they're pretty good, but they don't see what we do. And if you don't see what we do, it takes a minute to get to deal with it. And I think what we did was we got Frisch off the snide. Like we threw the ball to him unnecessarily.
They trapped every time that middle, and he just kept walking. Your point guard kept walking into the trap every time. Instead of throwing it, maybe advancing the ball from behind the half court, they weren't pressuring him there.
Right. That's why I thought the press was a problem in that one.
No, it was a half court trap. He just walked right into the trap.
Half court trap, excuse me.
Then he would throw it to the corner, and the guy would dribble and pick it up, and then they clap on him.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's another game where Dio's in foul trouble. So, our kind of the guy where he went in foul trouble the whole night, but in that third quarter, I think he got couple and Donnie Carter got a couple. So we're having to kind of move pieces around, and without Dio, we're just not like he does a lot for us. Does a lot for us. And I just as if you watch the game, we're trying a high post entry on occasion, and they're laying on our back. And at some point, I just kind of told her, at some point, that's got to be a foul. Like there's only so many times. I don't know what the rule is in New York, I told him, but in Maryland, usually it's once when the guy goes over the guy's back, they call that foul. But maybe it could be 5, 6. You give 5, 6 of them before you call it. I get that. If that's the case, we've already reached that quota, so y'all need to start calling. You know what I mean? So, and I think if you watch the film, I'm not talking out of turn. You'll see it. It's not.
It's there. The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah. So I think those are, if you ask me, those are the teams. Those are the teams to beat. We just didn't take care of the ball, and then on Sunday we didn't. We're a bucket away from finishing them in the first quarter. We're up 12-4, whatever. We get a stop, we come down and miss a layup. And then I think we got another stop, and then we turn the ball over. And then they got a bucket, a free throw, and then a bucket, and then all of a sudden it's 12-7. And then we have a 2-point quarter because we got 3 starters in foul trouble. I just want to survive the half in the game, and we're only down 5. I'm thinking like, and it surprised me a little bit that Yona played zone, but I think it was a twofold thing. One, they played so many games, and they were probably a little tired, or more than a little.
Yeah.
2, they knew that we had issues the night before against zone, so it's a smart move by Yona. He's a good basketball coach, a really good guy, and I really like him. And his assistant. His assistant Chaya Rachel is what I'm gonna call him. You'll get the joke. He's also really good. I mean, they do a great job together.
Yeah.
And I
it didn't have like an out of town vibe when you were watching them play.
Right. And that's the point. Which means that we could compete. As like we always get blown off, whether it's John who blows us off, or John Bandler blows us off, or somebody else blows us off, guys at YU blow us off. It's not the case. Like we're not.
No, I think you're a tier 1 team in Sarachek this year.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah.
Who you guys ranked?
And you were not last year.
No, we were not. But who are we? We're nobody from no place. You know what I mean?
Right.
So now I think
you actually have the experience. You have the resume.
I think if you just watch us play as opposed to a year ago, we're just a little different. Like that. Like we were. Now I don't remember a lot of that Hilo game because I had COVID. I just remember this kid 44 who told our guys in the middle of the game he's never shot the way he shot that day. Whatever his name was, some kid 44 last year for Hillel.
Maybe
shot the hell out of it. He drove us crazy, and he told us middle of the game, I never shoot this way. So it was just, it's one of those days, and we weren't. Here's my other thing in a tournament like that. Like if I'm not competing for a championship, what's the big deal? I came there to win. I want to win. I'm trying to win a championship. Whether it's right now or that tier, whatever tier you're in, you're trying to win the championship. You know what I mean? Once you're eliminated from that tier championship and you're still in that tier, just play and make sure your kids have fun. And at the same time, like we learned great lessons this past weekend about missed opportunity. We had opportunity and we missed it. We had given ourselves the opportunity. It wasn't handed to us. We earned it. And then we let it slip away. And so, we have to close. We have to learn how to close. And the only way you can close is if you make free throws and layups.
Yeah.
I'm looking at your guys' ranking right now. You're 25th.
I don't pay attention to that. Don't.
Might change. It probably will change. The current ranking.
Coach, talking again about growth, comparing this year to last year, it's just amazing to me looking at the size of your school. Like, how do you grow a program like that
I don't know.
a short amount of time?
I don't. Well, I mean, you get to work. You got to get in the gym. I think what happened to some of our guys, in particular, Natano Zigdon, who did not have a good weekend. Jakob Meister, who wasn't particularly good Saturday night and Sunday. Donnie Oken. We played Hillel, and we played these other guys and realized how much smaller we were, and they went home and said, we're not going to do that again. So they got in the gym and they lifted and they worked on their bodies at the same time they were in the gym working on their game. So I think you have to have a buy-in from everybody. And so
it's all about buy-in.
Yeah, when you get buy-in, I think what you're watching with us is everybody's bought in. So whatever happens to us, there is no, if we have to throw the one more, everybody's throwing one more. Like, that's why you see John get the shots he gets, because everybody's bought in. Like, everybody knows their job and does their job. So it's hard. I mean, like I said, 33% of our school was at or more than that.
How many students is your school?
We have 33.
So half the schools on the basketball team.
Unbelievable. You just need to be circumcised and you're a member of the YMC Cyclones.
That, or you're opening, open Vicks cough drops bottle or something, like that. It's just, but see, so everybody, people don't get this. I mean, coaching's hard.
30 kids. That's crazy. I thought Valley Toro was small.
What's that?
I thought Valley Toro was small.
Yeah. Second of all, it's difficult. I'm not saying woe is me. It's why I took the challenge. Like, can we compete with this group, this number of kids? Can we compete on a level nationally and not embarrass ourselves? You know what I mean? Now, I would argue that minus the plus 19, losing plus 19 is a bit of an embarrassment, but I'd also argue that getting to plus 19 against a team like that, against the blue blood, getting to that, I'm proud of the work we're doing. It's difficult, and we'll still be the small school at that tournament.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know what I mean? But it's
how you embrace it.
Yeah, it's not about the size of the dog in the fight, dude. It's about the size of the fight in the dog. And like we're getting after, we don't view that as a handicap. We kind of view that. Now, for the record, and I'll call this out too. When Minion started, we were the only school there. All of our guys were there.
Yeah.
On Shabbos morning. So I'm proud of them. They do the right thing. They do it the right way. And like I said, like in coaching, you don't get what you ask for. It's the same thing in parenting. You don't get what you ask for. You get what you demand. If you ask your kid to take out the garbage, you have 50% chance that's going to happen at best. You tell your kid and demand from your kid he take out the garbage. It's a take out the garbage or my foot up your ass kind of thing. The garbage is going out. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing. Like I told my guys this, we're supposed to be at Minion on time. We're going to be at Minion on time. I have no problem sending you home. And if I send you home, your uniform's on my desk, and we won't be having you in New York next time we go.
Yeah.
So what do you think they're going to do? Come on time or be late?
Yeah. A wise coach once said, "You ain't working, you ain't playing."
No, I mean I don't understand how coaches allow it. Be honest with you.
You need structure.
It's not complicated. I have what you want. That's playing time. That's what you want. You want to play? I control that. Call me an idiot, asshole. I don't care. I control your playing time. So you're just going to do it my way, or, well, you can't be like that anymore. Why not? Of course you can. Wait. How does a new decade or new generation or new way, quote unquote, come with less accountability? Shouldn't it come with more? Like our progress now to be progressive, so to speak, and the way we deal with kids and stuff like that, it has to come with less accountability. It should come with more, because now they're all entitled. You want to be entitled? I got no problem with that. You're also entitled to my foot up your ass if you're not doing it the right way. You know what I mean? So And everybody's like, well, you can't talk that way to kids. I don't know. You watch me. I believe if you don't have a relationship with kids, you can't get on them. You just can't. Like, and that's why I always tell my players, don't worry if I get mad at you, worry if I don't. Because if I'm not mad at you, if I don't hold you accountable, I don't care if you're there or not.
My friend Coach Matt Malk said something very similar, actually, to his players a couple of weeks ago. So it's funny hearing you say that as well.
Matt is a smart guy.
Yeah.
So I'm saying like that. For some reason, it's okay if you show up late. It's not okay if you show up late. It's not gonna be okay if you show up late to that interview you're trying to get. It's not gonna be okay if you show up late to your wedding. It ain't gonna be okay if you show up late to your job. It ain't gonna be okay if you show up late to a business meeting. Why is it okay if you show up late to davening when that's part of what you're supposed to be or where you're supposed to be? Hold your kids accountable. That's how you kind of raise warriors, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people talk the game. I don't know. I think being demanding. Think about this now. I think we've talked about this too. Think about the most demanding teacher you've ever had. Have we spoke about this before?
No, I don't think so.
Think about the most demanding teacher you've ever had.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Okay. Think about the teacher you learned the most from. Same person?
It always goes back to that. If they're demanding and it's a positive experience, it comes back to your favorite teacher, the teacher that you learn the most from. And teachers that are demanding, but they don't care as much, that always goes to like a bad place. I don't know if that has anything to do with what we're saying, but yeah, you're right. It goes to the
Just think about your own experience, like your most demanding teacher. Who'd you learn the most from? Are they the same person or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the most demanding teacher I had taught me the most. I mean, and so I mean, I would argue that, I don't know if I'd argue. I think my players would tell you that I was their most demanding teacher. And so whether they learned anything from me, that's a little different story. But demanding in a good way. Like I told you that story about that mom who was giving me grief about her kid, right? That I was yelling at her kid. I mean, I'm holding him accountable. I'm trying to help you raise a man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm trying to do. If that, if that offends you, I apologize, but I'm not going to stop holding him accountable. He can always go play for somebody else, or he doesn't have to play basketball. 2/3 of our school don't play basketball. Whereas most people, it's like
2/3, meaning 21 of them.
Yeah, it's like 1/50th of our school doesn't play basketball. With us, it's 2/3 don't play, right? I mean, we're not afraid. I fear God. I mean, we're not afraid. We believe that when we do what we do, we can play with anybody that we're playing on our schedule. Other guys, people won't believe us, and look, we're still susceptible. We're susceptible to being kids. We're susceptible to being stupid sometimes. We're susceptible to throwing it to guys in the other uniform. We're susceptible to not making free throws and layups. We don't pass and catch it sometimes very well. We're lazy, in how we deliver the basketball. We don't have size like everybody else. We don't always box, like we have issues too. You just have to keep going. That's what life is about. You just have to kind of nose to the grindstone kind of thing. And, I just think that sometimes out of town teams get lumped together, and well, if you're from out of town, you're not gonna be able to compete because you're not.
Of course.
But
you got to build a profile.
I guarantee you, we're going to be the smallest.
Yeah, Yeshiva Atlanta and McCorkheim and all these things they get, and Fuchs, like until you make a dent, it's an unfortunate part, but it's a reality that until you make a dent as an out of town team, that's not LA. One of the big, but even the LA teams, the big three have all won something. So they have it. So it's until you win and you make a dent that you could then, You separate.
Well, I think the Eula thing a year ago was a good start for somebody like us.
Yeah, of course. Eula is the most. I think they historically have the most wins.
Not necessarily a strong team that year, but with their rich history.
Oh, well, compared to what? I mean, or
They're a strong team this year, and they're ranked number 4th.
Or compared to what now? You know what I mean? Like compared to us, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
the game might have been a weak team for them, but compared to us, they were a hell of a thing to do.
Oh, no, for sure. And I was adding on to what I was going to say, you know, with their rich history and just the brand name, you know, the brand, you know, it's great.
Brand, of course. So
Yeah, to be honest with you, Ida Crown just beat the crap out of us. But again, we were playing in a closet at TABC. So
right, that's their second.
I think when you press in smaller gyms, it's a major advantage. Not
what are you gonna do against a small gym press? Anytime I see it, and I do middle school, so this is even more so because middle schoolers can't break a press. They just can't. If you see a small gym, it's like, yeah,
worse. Of course, and then they have a 6'6" at the back end of it, so you know you're just like,
yeah.
And John didn't make any shots early, so we just got in a whole mess of trouble. I mean they spanked us pretty good, so you deal with it and you recover from it. But we're not afraid.
We wanted to pivot here to a
sure.
different squad that we all love.
Sure.
Yeshiva University Max. We come off this Amherst game. We look great. We beat a team that's beat Williams, beat a bunch of these teams. We lose only by 8 to a nationally ranked team to open the season. And now, what's going on? We lose to Tufts in a weird game.
Yeah,
weird. What's going on?
The only thing that's going on, Jack, is you ran out there and ran your mouth, and now they got to try to live up to your expectation. And wait a second. And about the floor, and all that, and I'm not saying you're totally wrong because I still think there's a lot of season left. But when you start
next week,
when you start is it next week we play?
We're back at it next Wednesday against Wesleyan.
When you start 4 freshmen, you're gonna have struggles. That's just the way it is. Now I think we're making some adjustments to it that, you know, I'm not gonna put it out there, but I think you'll see some things that are a little different.
Okay.
But nevertheless, I just think it's part of growing up playing college basketball, you know. The things that bother me in situations like that are the lack of rebounding. You know, you can't let guys come down the middle of the paint. I heard Reggie Theus say this one time. He said, it was crazy coming from Reggie Theus because he couldn't guard his lunch, but he said, if you come down that paint and you score the first time, that's shame on me. The next time I am cleaning your clock. If I don't clean your clock, that's on me.
Right.
You made a hell of a play. All right, get it. You come down there next time. You know, I used to tell my team, make sure he brings his insurance card. We're not trying to hurt him, right? But we are going to send him a message that this is not free in here. You don't just get to come down the middle of the paint. And sadly, up on, you know, Amsterdam Avenue, whatever it is, we are allowing guys to come down the middle of the paint with too much frequency.
I mean the end of the Tufts game, it was free lane. This guy paid. He had an easy pass.
We're doing that, yeah, but we're doing that every night. That's going to change, I think. And I still think it's an adjustment period with Max, who's only played 4 or 5 games.
Right. Yeah.
So we're still going through that, whereas the other guys had 10 other games to deal with it. There's some things that you'll notice, I think, a little bit when we come out next week, but we just got to play better. It's not, you know, shot selection's got to be better. Defense on that, everything about the game, like we got to rebound better, we got to defend better. The great news that people kind of get lost in the weeds on this, but we still, you know, you still win a league, you're still going to the NCAA tournament.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. We were 4th in Skyline, right? That year we won.
That was always
that time,
I
is
think we
that
were
right?
fourth.
Yeah, we had to go on the road to Farmingdale in the semifinal, yeah. I think we hosted Mount St. Mary and we're getting our face kicked in. Like,
Right, to kick off the game. I remember that.
I remember that.
That was my first, yeah, that was first year post presidency.
Donnie hit the first three, and then we didn't score for a minute. And we were getting killed like 23-5 or something. It was some stupid thing like that. And we kind of cut the thing. Sim hits a jumper. Sim or Gabe hits a jump. I thought it was Sim to cut it like just 5 or 4 right before the half. And then it's not till like maybe the 10 or 8 minute mark that we actually take the lead. And then we went to Farmingdale and got off great. And then had to hold on. See, again, that's a sophomore team, like a team totally sophomores. And in that playoff alone, we're getting smoked by Mount St. Mary. We got to come back and win. We come out to big lead with Farmingdale, total control. We end up pissing it away and then end up winning the game.
Purchase.
Yeah, and then Purchase, we were getting beat early on that game too, and ended up winning the game, but not before they made like a little run. But like so that whole kind of, you go through that, and that's with sophomores.
Am I allowed to ask this question? Probably not, but I'm gonna ask it. Am I allowed to ask this question?
He doesn't have to answer it.
He doesn't have to answer it. That's true. Do we know the full story? What happened with Barr that season, where he plays, then he's not in the tournament game, then he's out for a year, then he's back?
That was a fabricated accusation.
No, but why would he be out for a year?
It was a bit of a fabricated
So
accusation.
if the accusation was fabricated, why would he be out for a year?
Because he had something to do with a military waiver that he didn't fill out. It's different than
He's not a pass player, so I'm sure this could be addressed.
Which was different from the accusation that was made that night.
Yeah, so that's what it was always very
That
confusing.
accusation was that he was a paid professional. The fact is, you're allowed to be. Like you can, as long as everybody got paid the same amount of money. But the Israeli team's like, we're not telling you what we paid everybody. Then why should they? They run a business. They could care less what we have to do.
Right.
So, but then it was the next year had something to do with more of a military waiver in Israel he was supposed to fill out or something like that.
And he missed a whole year?
Yeah, it was something like that. Then he didn't get that waiver from the NCAA. It was something like that.
Oh wow.
It was like a weird story like that. Elliot knows better, and I'm just trying to give you what I remember from it. It's probably more.
That was a long time ago. I just feel like enough time to ask the question.
The crazy thing is, like we had to deal with him the whole year, and it was a struggle because he kind of really wasn't playing within our stuff. And then when I was doing the scouting report on Monday for that playoff game, for the tournament game, I kind of couldn't believe it. The way they were guarding for the York game, the way they were guarding, I kind of called Elliot and said, I think Barr's our ticket here. Just the way he plays, like they're going to have issues with him. And we're he was in shoot around the night before. He was going over early to shoot. He went up, got early, went over to shoot early in the morning. And on the way to the game, Joe tells him he can't play. So
yeah,
that was a blow because
the team was going in for how can you go in like that with that news coming?
Because Farmingdale made an accusation,
right? And Joe
he had to be reviewed.
Yeah, it was a look part. He had done an advertisement for Step It Up, in which he said he was a professional basketball player.
Yeah.
Well, that's not good.
I remember that video.
And they left that advertisement up. And that event. That was part of the issue.
Right. And that gives ammunition to the critics.
No, I mean, that's bad. Don't you? Yeah, so that makes sense.
But the crazy part is that it didn't matter that he was a pro because he didn't necessarily get paid.
No,
Right.
yeah, but
They had one kind of max contract, so to speak. And if you
Yeah.
play with a player with a max contract, who gets paid more than everybody else, you're deemed ineligible.
It's water under the bridge at this point.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I know under the bridge. I think it's interesting. I just remember at the time that everyone had a different take, and I had heard that.
Oh, I'm kind of surprised that we're rehashing this. I thought everyone knew
I didn't know the truth.
Oh.
I'd rather rehash this than rehash the bogus stuff that goes on, or that I hear on the Twitter sphere and the Shul water cooler. What's going on with Zebby? What's going on with?
Don't get coach started on that.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Coach, do not take the bait, please.
I'm not taking the bait.
Ryan Terrell, I posted on Twitter. He had 5 straight games of like 12, 7, 8. It's a freshman, man. It happens. He's 18. He's 19.
Yeah, it's crazy because I think I told you this. Like he went. Was that Ryan's sophomore year?
His first year, he has that 7-point game versus Purchase that you thought was his best game.
That's freshman year.
Freshman year.
I thought it was the best game because he did a hell of a job on Elijah Lott. That was the
Lot. That's right. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, and the game before, I think he had 32
against Sarah Lawrence.
I told him I thought he was crap.
I remember.
Fact. Because I mean, but see, I think that's why Ryan and I have the relationship that we have because I never blew steam up his ass. I always told him straight up exactly what I felt. Like, no, I know you had 32, but I don't think you're a very good teammate. I don't think you were a very good player that night. Yeah, you scored a lot of points. Everybody gets all excited about that. But did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? How come this happened and this happened? And why didn't you do that? And he saw it. I said, Ryan, you basically were George Gervin that night. You scored 32, you gave up 30. So you ended up being a +2 for us. What would that do for us? Because that kid kicked his ass. What was his name?
Lot.
No, the kid at Sir Lawrence.
At Sir Lawrence, the big man. I forgot his name. Oh, the big man or the guard?
Guard.
Both of them had a good night. I forgot his name.
I'm going to do that.
Ryan made so many mistakes that night. I'm just like, Ryan, like as good as you are, you could be so much better. Because my thing to Ryan was you get stuff. He was such a great defender. You get stops on any possession. You just have to work at it, and he wasn't doing it. So my thing was, why are you settling for mediocrity? Yeah, everybody's going to dance around you. You got 32 points, but those of us who know what we're talking about are going like, we got a problem with Ryan Terrell. And we didn't really become really good until Ryan decided to guard.
And he was going to be the guy to do that.
He decided to guard. I remember that night with Lott. I was at the game and I said to Elliot, okay, now we got a chance to win this whole thing because of the way Ryan just defended.
Right.
I think I said because of the way Ryan played, and Elliot said he had 7 points. So you're damn right. Right? He didn't even shoot the ball well. But he was so good. He was so good on Lott. He just drove the kid crazy, and I thought that was a ticket. Like that was the Ryan that we needed, and because he was guarding, it made Simcha guard. Simcha could always say, "Well, Ryan's not guarding." He couldn't do that anymore. And then the only guy not covering down was Sim. Once Sim was all in defensively, like people forget, we had 102 in the NCAA tournament. We were so friggin' good on the defensive end. Look, I mean, I'm sure all 15 other teams believed they were going to win a national championship. I knew we were going to win a national championship because I knew what we had and I knew what everybody else had. And everybody else, any way you shook it, we're going to have a Ryan Terrell problem.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you had to deal with 2 Halperts on the perimeter. You had to deal with Gabe. I won't even add Donnie because I believe you have to deal with him, but nobody else does.
We believe everyone who knew.
Yeah,
Like,
and everybody was gonna have a Ryan problem. Like the whole, like look at the other 15 teams. There's no
No,
you
that's
match up.
You had
Huh?
Donnie. You're not even mentioning him. You had even off the bench. Tyler barely got minutes. He started on a conference championship winning team.
NCAA tournament game, sure.
Caleb was a good body. He's a body.
Yeah, well, when he
At
wasn't
that point,
he was pretty good.
Barr was coming off the bench. It was a deep team. At
Yeah,
that point, Barr was done. But
we're pretty good. Well, Bart took himself out, but we were
Right,
pretty
yeah.
good. We were pretty good. And so, even Kevin gave us a lot of stuff lately.
Kevin?
Yeah, like we were pretty good. And people don't realize how good Tyler Hode was. I've just got to say,
Tyler was great.
they don't realize how good he was. Tyler was a winner. He was a winning player, and I think that's really where.
And a positive person just to be surrounded by.
Yeah, but sometimes coaches make mistakes. In other words, they see this guy does this and he does it. Like I'm looking around the tournament this past weekend. I'm not sure how many kids I see that could actually play college basketball for us.
Yeah.
There's just one. A lot of them are unprepared. Because they're in the bubble. And by the way, it's a good bubble for them. But for us at YU, it's a tough bubble because if those who do come, we know there's a steep learning curve in both on offensive and defensive end and college basketball. Like offensively, we're running stuff that no one's running. Obviously, as you saw the other night, that's difficult to guard on the high school level if you do it right. And on the defensive end, you're not playing anything like we play. And then the speed of the game and the size of the game and the quickness of the game, you're just unprepared because you've been playing in the quote unquote non-shot clock, non-man to man, non-pressurized league per se. If there's 20 teams in this league, Warren, how many are there? 20?
Who's the commissioner of the Yeshiva League? Who do we got to pay off to get a shot clock in this thing?
No, I think what a shot clock is that they don't have enough people to work their regular clocks. How are they all going to get guys?
It's a personnel issue. I agree.
Yeah.
Get a student. You can't get a student.
What I do is I give partial gym credit, and we don't have this problem right now. But if we didn't have staffing for the game, I would make our varsity guys work JV games and our JV guys work
varsity games. This makes sense.
Yeah,
this makes sense.
I would do. Yeah. You just rotate through. You need a shot clock guy, a book.
They're
guy.
already there.
Right, and they're playing anyway, and they know the rule, so they know how to score a game, or they should, or you teach them, and that's what's up. Do clock, do shot clock, do the scorebook. 3 people. If you have 10 home games and you have 10 guys on your team, that's 3 games a guy.
Right.
There you go.
Should be able.
You just solved the shot clock crisis. Resolved.
In the Yeshiva League, absolutely.
Let's do it. Let's move you.
Now go spend $300 for those standalone shot clocks.
Done. Every one of these schools have a donor that would love to do it. Come on.
I think it would improve the league.
It would.
It would.
I think it would improve the players coming out.
And I think it would force guys to play more man to man.
Yes, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It would force guys to deal with clock management in an
It'll make the game. It'll make the game
good
better.
thing.
It took Sarachek a while to adopt a shot clock.
Yeah, because Elliot was sick of watching it. That's what happened.
I started to get a shot clock channel. I was a college freshman. I came in. I may have had a beer or two. I'm not gonna admit.
Jack?
Might have, probably had, and was just going, and people were looking around. I just wouldn't. And then everyone's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then it just
wait a second. First of all, in case you were under 18, he allegedly.
That's a good point.
Allegedly made.
He got a middle school job to protect Jack.
There was a guy that looked just like me named Daniel Miller who lived in Gainesville, Florida. that may have been, came in a little inebriated into that game.
That's who it was. But
That's
did
who it
Daniel
was.
Miller start that chant? Is that who that was?
Yeah, it was Daniel Miller.
Guess you got to step away from ownership.
Exactly.
But Elliot was like, I'm getting away with it. Like, we're done with it. And I think the 6 overtime game was enough.
The Hafterfresh was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah,
It broke every camel. It broke the whole stable.
because
Hey,
it's like,
ironically, you could thank Tyler Hode because
that's right, because he inbound the ball.
Smart. It's a smart move. Why would I'm playing for
No. If you have the advantage, take the advantage. I'm just telling you what sparked Elliot's.
Ryan's senior year. I always told this to Valley Tour, like we'd always lose, and I was like, it's clock management. If you guys have a big lead, don't play like you have a shot clock. Hold it. So I've been saying it to the younger Valley guys and my teams also for years. It's Valley Tour had the curse, so everyone was always trying to figure out why we can never win. Thank God it got
Yeah, and you changed your Facebook profile pic to Rip Stolberger
for 2 months. Yeah, when we won, I did that. So Ryan in the Cooper tournament, it goes to overtime. They win the tip. He holds it the whole time. They get a shot.
Right, that was against Milken, right? Against Milken.
Wins the tip again because it's Ryan jumping, right? He's 6'6", and he can jump. He's going against Moshe Bipper, and
That was a great game to watch.
Yeah,
oh my God, Milken had this. Yeah, Jack, do you remember this guy Milken had, Amitai Affinjar?
What happened to him?
I don't know what happened to him, but he was a good player.
Ryan wanted him at YU. They tried to recruit him. They said, "Oh,
yeah." Coach, do you remember that name?
Our position that he was stacked at the time, and he'd have had to back up Donnie and Gabe.
I feel like with all the notice we give to Eula, Shalhevet, and Valley Torah, we don't talk enough about what potential talent is that a Milken or a Nuju. Am I wrong?
D Toledo doesn't typically have guys. They have this kid Michael Galick. I think is really good. I've known him his whole life. I don't know how tall he is these days, so that's always been an issue. But I know he's a really great player. His dad played for YU. Milken's a good point. They've had guys. I don't know, guys who go over to play D3 in other places. We should get him at Sarachek. I don't know.
Yeah, they have been in the past.
But anyway. Coach Katz, you've resolved the shot clock crisis.
Yeah, that's how I would do it. And, I don't.
There's going to be like a GoFundMe.
It's just part of being part of the program. You're part of the program. What comes with this uniform is responsibility, and part of that responsibility is going to be you're going to have to work the shot clock in a couple games.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
We would both do it. We do it in the TABC Summer League.
Yeah, we're trying to bring it to our Summer League this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're going to try to ask, well, I guess I could do a plug right now on the podcast. We're going to try to ask admissions if we could borrow their shot clocks that they use for the offsite games.
Are you doing 30-second shot clock in the Summer League? 35?
Probably 35.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You're going to make some people very unhappy, Oren.
That's true. Most of our adults who compete are from a yeshiva league landscape background.
Yeah.
I do think it's an indictment on the league a little bit that there's been no real impact player besides Gabriel Leifer.
A long time.
I still count Tyler as an impact player, and I think Justin.
Wait a second, hold the phone. It's still early in his career, but Zevi's a yeshiva league player.
No, I get that. No, I'm saying until now.
Since then.
But I mean, saying Oren, we're talking about 7 years. You can count them on your finger. Judah. Mikey's kind of old.
Put Judah in that tier, even though his career was pretty short.
Yeah, Judah was.
Judah did a great job. I'm not even going to count Mikey and them. Mikey
was so far removed from yeshiva league basketball when he joined the team.
But Jordan wasn't. So. No. But let's start from after Jordan. AJ, right after Jordan. I mean, even though Judah is not there after Jordan, but it's Gabriel. Maybe it's Sammy Mandel is there. Tyler, Justin. What else? You'll have Deutsch for a week.
Yeah.
Jamie Capel.
I mean,
for a week.
Jamie was already done by then.
Yeah, Jamie had one season and then
He
he
did play well in that playoff game.
He
He
did,
did.
but
he,
you know,
he hitched up with his girl. He moved to London.
but
Yeah.
remember, Oren, that's really an old system.
Right.
Some of those kids that played in similar systems.
Right. I'm not, Coach, to be perfectly honest with you, those players then, how impactful would they be in today's Yeshiva League?
What do you mean?
You know, like I feel like
Jamie would still be great in the yeshiva league.
Shelby Rosenberg would still be able
Shelby Rosenberg, yes. Shelby Rosenberg, yes.
I think
Shia
the good
Weiss,
players-
yes.
Good players translate. I think good players would just be good players. Meaning,
Right.
like, what would they?
But now, you see,
No, how would they look like in now's system? I think Shelby would still work in.
Shelby would be great in the system.
Yeah,
Yeah, Benji Ritholtz will still be an all-star.
Benji would be super.
I'm not. Where does Shia fit?
Benji would be 30 a night. It's a great question about Shia. Because
He didn't. Yeah,
I think there's something for Shia to do. I
Mm.
just don't think, unless Shia goes all in on it,
right.
you know,
Ofek is a good example of what Shia could have looked like.
a little bit, yeah.
I like that. I like that comparison.
A little
The
bit,
penetration, the athleticism, the height, the jump.
a little bit. But Shelby would have been a star in this.
Oh.
Benji would have been an all-time leading scorer had he played 4 years in the system.
Mm. Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have just been 1,000 points. He'd have been upwards of 2,000 points.
Wow.
Simcha was the next version of Simcha was Benji Ritholtz in our system.
Right,
Right. Simcha jump-started the system.
but he was Benji in your system. What Benji would have looked like?
1800,
That's wild.
1900.
Benji, if you're watching,
He'd have had an 800 to 900 more. Benji and I have actually talked about it.
Oh,
But
yeah?
I remember we're doing a shoot around for purchase, and then we went to watch some film. And on the way back from film, Benji's like, "Man, I would have been great in this thing." I said, "You wouldn't have been great. You'd have been a star in this thing." He's like, "I would have been so excited to play in this," and it's sort of what we're doing a little bit with John on our level. You know what I mean? Where you're taking a shooter and you're teaching them the intricacies of, like, here's a great stat that I don't think people know. Michael Jordan in 96, 97, I think, averaged 29 points a game, and he had the ball in his hands less than 4 minutes every night.
Wow. Wow.
That's how
Wow.
guys like Benji Ritholtz would have been. Had it in your hands for less than a minute 10, you're going for 35, you know? Benji would have been outstanding in this thing, outstanding. It would have been exciting just to see him. I'm excited just thinking about how good he would have been.
There you go.
yeah.
I looked at it too.
Mikey was in the system. We just weren't very good at it yet. He'd have been okay. He'd have been okay. He's just such a good passer.
Oh,
It would have helped if he had more of a perimeter game.
yeah, of course.
He was such a good passer that he could hurt you on the perimeter.
Good dribbler.
Yeah.
Like get in the paint.
Mikey was tough. He had a very high IQ. Dean might have been a little better in it. Dean actually played pretty well in it on occasion. I just think
But also no jump shot.
what's that?
Dean couldn't shoot. Would that have been the
No,
problem?
That was the missing
No, but
piece.
but he could attack the basket.
Very
Like,
much so.
Yeah, and he could get boards.
yeah, like we had him pummeling the bucket with curls and stuff like that, back
Yeah.
cut. But you know, as the year went on, he got better in it. I don't know if a guy like, what was the name of that, Yisrael Feld?
Right.
I don't know if he would
Feld.
fit because he was so ball centric.
So ball centric.
If you're ball centric in this offense, you're just not going to succeed.
Mm.
Trying to think who, what's his name would have been good from California, Dobie Hoffman.
Robbie Hoffman.
He'd have been real good in our
He's
system.
doing great. He could do it today. He still plays.
He
This
does.
is going, this is going a little bit too far back. What about, I don't know if you guys remember this guy, Gil Bosch.
Yeah, a tad ball centric, but I think he'd have been okay. Wouldn't have been, he's not Benji, like that kind of thing. I think Dovey's like, I'm not. I think Slomo Weisberg would have been okay, not great because he didn't really shoot on the perimeter very much, and they had limited him as to what he was allowed to do for Johnny. He could only do this, and this.
Yeah.
But I don't think he wasn't great passer back to the basket, if you know what I mean by that. Like the guys we've had. Merlis might have been okay in this thing.
Shoki.
Yeah, he might have been okay in this thing. We'd have made you better, Jack.
Oh, I only played a season. I would have been.
We'd have made you better if your heart didn't give out.
That's true. That would have been great.
But I think a lot of the players coming from that. But a lot of guys also, like, though we didn't play man to man.
Right.
He sat in zone in college. So he got cheated in that experience too, by the way.
Did they play zone in college?
Yeah. That's all he did.
What? That's pretty wild.
How much man to man did Gil Bass play, Oren, in college? I mean, Johnny didn't play.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit before my time. I don't think
Johnny didn't play man to man. Johnny didn't play.
Yeah.
Weren't athletic enough. I
And
guess.
Johnny Halpert also, New York guy, so comes from that Yeshiva League mindset.
Right. I think that's where the Yeshiva League mindset currently is.
Sure.
It's from there,
Yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely stems. I agree.
And I think there's a group of people who are like, the only way you can succeed in this league is to play zone. And I think.
Well, let me ask you this: Elliot comes from Yeshiva League background, so why is his philosophy different? Or maybe not different, but maybe he's just open to whatever's out there.
Well, first of all, let's be clear. He did different things in that league, and that's why he won. That's what I'm saying. The guy doing different wins.
It did.
North Shore were a man-to-man team?
Yeah, he played man-to-man.
Hank were a man-to-man team?
Yep.
Wow.
So they won.
Yeah.
He did other things, he had trapping zones and stuff like that. But I think his foundation was man to man, and the guy who does different, all the guys who are locked in this, and that doesn't mean DRS ain't gonna win and all that. I love Avram Stein. I love him.
Oh, he's great. He's great. I'm a big fan of his.
Phenomenal person, and he gets.
He's such a mensch. He's such a mensch.
Yeah, he does what he does, and he does that well. It's kind of like a Boeheim thing for me with him.
I mean, Coach, it kind of goes back to the beginning of our show when you're saying now different is different, and that's kind of what benefited the likes of YMC and Berman this past weekend.
Yeah, because look, it's the same idea as the non-ball screen. Like, you don't see what we do, and because you don't see what we do, you're going to struggle with it. It's just how it is, Right. And I don't think we defended particularly well once we lost Saturday night. I thought Sunday we actually defended poorly in both games. And other people thought different, but I don't really care. It's my opinion is the only one I'm listening to right now. Like, I don't think we were aggressive enough on certain things we do. I think we gave up too much middle, and we got killed on the corner because of it. It was obvious because we didn't get a lot of charges as opposed to the beginning of the tournament where we got a ton. Now, I think the word got out, by the way, so people were shooting pull-ups on us. That is part of what we try to get you to do, is to shoot pull-up, but if you want to go bucket, come on, run us over. We'll be there. I think we stopped defending. I mean, whether it was losing Saturday night the way we did, or we were just tired, or a combination of both, or we just stunk, I don't know. But whatever it is, we won't be that way in March. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll do it the right way. And I was proud of our guys because, you know, we don't want to be the little engine that could. We want to be the team. We want to be the team that can. And, you know, sometimes you get treated like the wicked stepsister, and it's not fair.
No, I think you definitely changed the way a lot of people thought about you guys going into the weekend. Now they think about you in a whole different context.
You know, we do that to tournament. Like, I know that's changed.
And if that was the mission of the tournament, mission accomplished.
That's what we tried to do, to go there and just say, hey, we're not, you know, that's why we're here now. We're here to compete.
Yeah.
And we don't.
Great way to conclude. You know, so coaches YMC Cyclones, you'll get to see them again in March to compete in the Red Sarachek tournament. And the YU Max resume their season next Wednesday on the road against Wesleyan. Then they have one more non-conference against Mary Washington.
Also, one thing to plug, I want everyone to come out to alumni night.
What? I was plugging your Hanukkah party. We stopped doing that?
No, it happened already. It was great.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I got new things to plug now.
Okay.
More things to shove down the people's throat. February 11th, we have alumni night at the MSAC. Last home game of the season.
Is that also this farm sale?
Same night, man. A lot happening on that night.
I got a YMC game that night, so I'm out.
Listen, no, don't be out. Come. We're giving away beanies, duffel bags. We got pizza. We got lots of fun stuff. David Kufeld versus IL Hode halftime free throw contest. You're not gonna want to miss it. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Is that
I'd rather
really?
see Donnie against Tamir.
Gabe Leifer was supposed to play Kufeld, and Gabe Leifer chickened out because he's afraid that his free throw is not up to par these days. He did not want to lose on the big stage to Kufeld. This is the two rebounding champs. So he's out. Hode's in.
I didn't take Gabe for a punk, but I guess he's gonna have to settle that up with me. You know, I can't be mean to Gabe because he, you know, I stayed at his parents.
Like your godson.
Yeah, we had a great time at his house. I love Gabriel.
We all love Gabriel. That's why I'm talking this junk.
Yeah.
He's the best, but he'll be there.
Bad way to advertise, Jack. Shame on you.
Nah, I'm shameless. It's gonna be a great time. Hope to see y'all there and the listeners.
Thank you guys for tuning in for episode 5 of the Harold Katz podcast. A lot of action coming up between YMC Cyclones and the YU Max. Keep it here for all things Godfather related. And this is the Dream Team signing off.
All right. Well, I'm gonna stop the recording.